in Death Valley.
Temperatures got to 123 degrees
I know.
while this guy was probably out walking around.
There's a reason they call it Death Valley. Yeah.
Local man is on trial for use of a weapon of mass destruction, malicious destruction of a building resulting in death, and some other stuff. This is a guy who is accused of sending a bomb to the salon where his ex-girlfriend worked with the intent that she open it and die, which is what happened. 2 other people were injured. The building was largely destroyed. And if I understand this right, this was a business he owned. So he blew up his own business to kill his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
All right. 2 people were killed yesterday in a shooting at a small group church meeting in Birmingham, Alabama. The suspect is in custody in this case. This shooting was at the St. Stephen's Episcopal Church, and they were having Boomers potluck. I have confirmed that. It was just a potluck that was scheduled for that evening, and they're trying to get now more information on the guy, why he did it, that sort of thing. But again, it's another shooting inside a church.
Yeah, and then this is what I love. This is your politician's response. This is the governor of Alabama, Kfi, and I'm going to now quote her. I am glad to hear the shooter's in custody. Fair? Okay. This should never happen. In a church, in a store, in a city, or anywhere, we continue to closely monitor the situation. Well, this should never happen. It's bad when people are killed. It's a bad thing when someone walks into a church and either blows it up, mows everybody down, takes a machete and hacks everybody's heads off, insert name of whatever crime you want here. It's a bad thing. Thank you, Governor.
What would you say if you were the governor of Alabama, other than how the hell did I end up the governor of
Yeah, I
Alabama?
mean, you just don't say anything. Just my condolences. That's it.
Oh, wait, but if she had said thoughts and prayers, she would have been mad at her, too.
I guess you just don't say anything. I don't know. There's nothing. At what point does it become pablum? Or is there anything that she or any governor could say that would not be considered pablum?
And if she did not say something, people would say, why didn't the governor say anything?
Or we're looking at the security. We're looking at, unfortunately, we've reached the point where we have to anticipate this more than we ever have. We're increasing patrols. We're doing whatever so there's something more than this should never happen. That's my point.
You could come out and simply say, here's who is handling the investigation, and I've directed everybody in my administration to provide full support.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You could say that, and then...
Yeah, but I just, it's a bad thing when that happens. Okay.
Hey, listen, we've had a lot of, death and people trying to rape people and stuff. Can we go fast forward to story 17 and get into some things that aren't quite as upsetting?
Cocaine.
Well, yes, so we start with this. More than 2,800 pounds of cocaine disguised to look like potatoes.
Yeah.
Were seized in Colombia. Apparently, the traffickers used a hydraulic press to shake the drugs, and authorities became suspicious only because the alleged bags of potatoes had no expiration date on them.
Isn't that wild? It's one of those stories. Because I'm thinking how clever it is. And I'm assuming not only were they shaped into potatoes, the cocaine, but I'm assuming they were painted to look like potato skins on the outside.
They might have been combined with actual potato.
It could have
something
been.
Drug traffickers will do. They'll combine it with something else.
Also, can I end with this shout out to the garbage men? Today is Global Garbage Man Day.
Oh.
And apparently, did you know that disposing of waste is considered one of the most dangerous jobs in the world?
It makes sense. I didn't think about it.
Machinery?
By the way, you can't call them garbage men anymore.
You're right.
Refuse engineers.
Refuse people.
Yes, or refuse, collectors and engineers thereof. I don't know. It's kind of a little crazy.
I joined Jen. God bless people who do that.
That's true. It's a tough job.
Because it's super important.
Yes.
Yeah, and it used to kill yourself. You'd lift those really huge, big barrels, and now at least the physical work isn't as hard because, of course, they have the mechanical arms that lift the trash cans up.
Yeah, they grab it, the trash can or the dumpster, what have you.
Yeah. Now they just miss. Now they just miss, and you end up, it's really good. Oh,
Sure you put your thing out correctly?
Boy, am I not
I
gonna...
don't think they're missing.
Wow.
I think people don't put the thing out the way you're supposed to put it out.
I think we're done.
Wow.
I think we're done. All right. Rate
Jen,
increase.
you have to learn to ignore some of this
Right,
stuff.
interest rates have exploded, right? Well, I'm going to go through how is it going to affect us? So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this interest rate business and see what's going on. This is KFI AM 640 Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
From a young age, I knew that to have any sort of relationship with my dad, I was going to have to watch a game, whether it be hockey or basketball or baseball or football or whatever. And so that's what I did. And this Father's Day, I just want to say thank you to Tommy Lasorda. Because without Tommy Lasorda, my dad would have never taught me to swear as colorfully as he did because of Tommy. So thank you, Mr. Lasorda.
Happy Father's Day from KFI.
KFI,
KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Adding to the charges, I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A man's been charged with attempted murder and special circumstances for allegedly shooting a CHP officer multiple times in Studio City. The day after the shooting on Monday, a police bloodhound tracked the man to a homeless camp. The family of the alleged shooter says the man is a Marine veteran who suffers from PTSD. The El Monte Police Department is raising money for the families of the two officers killed while on duty.
Go to the Fund a Hero. There's a link you can click on, and then it'll come up. You look for El Monte Police Officers, and it's right there.
El Monte Police Union President Ron Dannison told KFI's Tim Conway Jr. last night donations can be made online at www.porac.org. That's porac.org. Corporal Michael Paredes and Officer Joseph Santana were shot and killed Tuesday afternoon. News is brought to you by American Vision Windows. A fire at a mobile home in Santa Ana has resulted in 2 people killed and 2 people being arrested.
Investigators initially found 1 dead body from the fire.
Orange County Fire Authority established that this fire was set intentionally.
Santa Ana Police Sergeant Maria Lopez says 1 person was arrested in Barstow, which prompted investigators to head back to the mobile home.
They conducted an additional search of the home, and that's when a second body was located.
The fire started Friday night.
I believe the first suspect is right now looking at arson and murder charges.
She says it's not clear if the second person, who was arrested Wednesday in Apple Valley, will face charges. In Santa Ana, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
LA City Attorney Mike Sewer is trying to keep illegal fireworks sales from exploding.
Muir says he has directed online marketplaces to remove posts offering illegal fireworks. I'm talking about Meta, who of course owns Facebook, and Craigslist, and OfferUp, and 5 Miles. The city attorney says his office has also sent out more than 4,000 letters urging people in known trouble areas not to use fireworks. Muir says it's important for people to follow laws around fireworks this year as fire danger is off the charts. In downtown LA, Blake Trolley, KFI News.
Police have arrested a driver who struck and killed a man in South LA while fleeing from officers. Police say the woman was driving a car that was reported stolen. They say they stopped chasing her on a road and were tracking her from a helicopter when she hit the man yesterday. SpaceX has fired employees who wrote and sent out an open letter that criticized CEO Elon Musk. The letter called their boss's behavior a frequent source of distraction and embarrassment. The New York Times reports SpaceX president emailed workers and said the organizers she fired had pressured employees to sign a letter that did not reflect their views. 3 people have been shot at a church in Alabama.
A lone suspect entered a small group church meeting and began shooting. 3 people were shot. 2 people are deceased. 1 person is being treated for an unknown injury at a local hospital.
The Stavia Hills Police Department Captain Shane Ware says the shooter has been arrested. The shooting happened at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church last night during a potluck dinner. The British government has approved the extradition of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to the U.S. to face spying charges. Assange has 14 days to appeal. His supporters say he was acting as a journalist when he published classified material that exposed U.S. war crimes in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Guantanamo Bay. And a proposal to protect the Joshua Tree under the state's Endangered Species Act has stalled. The state's Fish and Game Commission deadlocked in a 2-2 vote yesterday. The trees will be temporarily protected until a vote in October. The commission has asked for more feedback from local tribes. We'll get a look at your update on Topanga Canyon in just a moment, but first it's sports with Wayne.
The Golden State Warriors are the 2022 NBA champs, beating the Boston Celtics in Game 6 by a score of 103-90. The Angels' Mike Trout hit a 2-run homer in the third against the Seattle Mariners, but what happened when he stepped to the plate in the seventh?
Trout sends that one high and deep out to center field. Rodriguez back, feeling for the wall. The second of the night for Mike Trout. Another 2-run shot. 4-0 Halos.
The final score, Trout 4, Mariners 1. Game 2 tonight at 7:10 with Michael Lorenzen on the mound. The Dodgers are back in action, hosting the Cleveland Guardians at 7:10, and you can hear every play live on AM 570 LA Sports. Slotted to start for the boys in blue, Clayton Kershaw. I'm Wayne Resnick, KFI Sports.
If your business has signed for more employees and you managed to survive COVID, you're eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of $26,000 per employee, and it's not alone. This is a refund of your taxes. Now, the challenge is getting your hands on this money. Complicated, lots of red tape, so how do you get through that? Well, let me suggest going to getrefunds.com. These folks are specialists in this little-known payroll tax refund program. No charge up front. As a matter of fact, they get paid by a percentage of the money they get back for you. Boy, talk about a no-lose. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, even those that had increases in sales. They got my business a 6-figure refund. In this program, the average client gets $250,000 back. That's money. Go to getrefunds.com, click on the Qualified Me button. They do the rest. Answer a few questions. Getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
Checking your KFI financial report, much more calm than it was yesterday. The Dow is up 63, S&P is up 19, NASDAQ is up 127, and the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California is $6.42. Your SoCal weather from KFI, we've got a much cooler day ahead. Temperatures will just be in the 60s, right at 70 at the beaches. We'll be in the 70s for Metro LA and OC, be in the 80s for the valleys and the IE, even maybe a few degrees cooler for tomorrow. Warm it up a couple of degrees on Sunday, and we'll be back in the low 90s inland by the start of next week. Right now it's 66 in Irvine, 63 in Pacoima. Let's get a look at that drive update to Topanga Canyon.
All right, and a big correction, an important correction at that. Now, Topanga Canyon is still closed from Pacific Coast Highway up towards Fordwood, including, of course, the turn lanes from PCH. Now, we want to thank Alex for giving us a call on this to our producers. We got a little confused here. CHP was relieved of the incident. They were released, and a private company is taking over. This is all about a crash that happened last night, the power pole down. So, bottom line, they're still working. Topanga Canyon closed, PCH up to Fernwood. I want to issue the alert from Malibu Canyon. It's going to get way busy, but also Canyon in between 101 and PCH. They're all open. We'll follow all this for you. Back to the freeways inland coming through Ontario. Problem westbound 10 around Mountain. Once you get past that, though, a pretty easy drive with 57, and it stays that way. The 605, even the 60, believe it or not, coming away from Diamond Bar, and the westbound 210 coming off from San Dimas. They're all in pretty good shape. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jeff Bob.
Giving it your all on the court? Make sure you have the right partner by your side. Highland's Leg Cramps Quick Dissolve Tablets. America's #1 leg cramp relief solution for over 10 years. No water needed, no stomach upset, just fast, effective relief. Also available in caplets. Highland's Leg Cramps. It's a healthy competition and beyond. Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
At Keck Medicine of USC, we see the limitless potential in you. But what does limitless really mean? Limitless is sunrise brainstorms and midnight oil, elbow grease and extra miles. It's hours at work for breakthroughs we'll never forget, and hours of made-up stories for grandchildren who will remember forever. Here at Keck Medicine of USC, we see your limitless potential because we're limitless too. Keck Medicine of USC, limitless.
Injured in an accident? Visit superwomansuperlawyer.com. KFI.
More stimulating talk.
An iHeart radio station.
KFI AM 640, Bill Handel here. It is a Friday morning, June 17th. Sunday, it's Father's Day. Kind of neat. If you happen to be a dad, can't wait to see what my kids are going to do for me. Just going to start with G-Dad. We got something really neat planned. Can I borrow your credit card? That's typically what happens. some of the big stories we are covering. It may look like masks could come back in the City of the Angels. Indoor mask requirement may happen at the end of the month because the county may be moving into the high risk category based on number of hospitalizations and the per capita number of hospitalizations that are happening now. Increasing, upticking. All right, yesterday was something that was expected. It was no fun. The Feds, in fact, did increase interest rates by 0.75%, which is the highest since 1994. That's a long time. Now, the reason it's big news, I mean, we knew, first of all, a couple things. It has to happen. Life goes in cycles. You can't keep on going up, and never goes down. That's impossible. We know that. We're going to see that in the real estate market. Last year, this year, real estate prices in Southern California jumped 20%. I mean, I've never seen a 20% increase in home values. I mean, that's just crazy. Usually you're going at a 2, 3, 4% increase. I mean, 5% increase in a good year. 20% in a year is just, I mean, that's just mind-boggling. And it's not particularly healthy, I don't think, because that just sets itself up for a fall, which I think is going to happen. In the meantime, most people, I mean, if you can imagine, we have had no inflation now for 20, 30 years, effectively, any massive amount of inflation. And which means that there are people, and a lot of people working, assuming that you sort of start feeling inflation maybe in your teens. So there are people in their 40s who have been working and don't really know what inflation is. Well, let's come back to haunt us big time, and it has to happen. We know that. So what ends up happening? How does that work? As I said, it becomes cyclical. Things get more expensive. What happened here? Well, we had a supply chain issue, and all of a sudden, whoop, things got very tight. And then the demand goes up. Demand goes up, inflation goes up. Things get more expensive, and they go more expensive quickly. The oil situation, wow, between what happened in Ukraine, it was happening before that, because we came off of the pandemic, and during the pandemic, naturally, the use of oil and gas dropped dramatically. Businesses shut down, restaurants were closed, retail stores. You just didn't need the gas and oil, which means the oil companies had gluts of oil. I mean, there was a time, and I'd never experienced this. You know, there was a time when oil had a negative value. We're paying, what, $115 a barrel right now? Last year, it was below zero. If you had oil, you had to pay to store it. You couldn't sell it. There was such a glut. Now, yeah, that isn't there on the table anymore because of the war, because of the return from the pandemic, because of we're going back to normal. Add all this stuff up, and all of a sudden now inflation is just rearing its ugly head. And what does the Fed do? The only thing it can do is jack up interest rates to cool down the economy, and do something called putting us into a soft landing. Yeah, in the Fed, it has a lot of power, but it has to know exactly what the interest rate is or should be to moderate slowing down the economy, and that is something that this is a sorcerer's apprentice. There's no way to really know. This is the crystal ball of all crystal balls, but on a scale of magnitude that is enormous. And so we have to understand that we're into it for a while. We're going to change our way of going. The big one right now is oil. Even though food is going up dramatically, there are things you can do with food. If you drive to work, there's nothing you can do. You have to drive to work. There's no way to save money. Here in Southern California, we don't have good transport. We don't have good carpooling. We live in a culture, I talked about this yesterday, we live in a culture where we're just a car culture until it changes. And we're talking decades of changing. Yesterday I talked about how the Olympics may change things dramatically in terms of how we view transportation in Southern California. But until that happens, I think the oil issue is going to be the number one hit for us. We all drive. We can cut down on driving, but not as much as we can make things do with food. You don't have to go to restaurants. You certainly you don't have to eat quality steaks. You can go to hamburger. You can have meatless days. There are ways of doing it. It's tough, but there are ways of doing it. I just think it's easier to deal with food inflation than it is gasoline inflation. That one, or heating oil in the East, good God, can you imagine? It's going to be next winter when it's going to be 30, 40 degrees below zero in certain parts of the country because climate change has made winters colder. It's not fun. But we're going to be okay. We get through it. We always do. You know, we're a pretty resilient group of people. We'll be reporting it. I'll be telling you your life's falling apart. You'll be sitting there going, handle, you can't get much more miserable than that. The next day I come back with much more miserable story, and then we all survive. See how that works? Okay, here's the story I want to share with you. Amazon, there's a memo from Amazon that literally is warning itself it's going to run out of people to hire. There won't be anybody left to hire. I'll share that story with you. In the meantime, let's check in with Jennifer Jones-Lee live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
The legislature is pushing a bill focused on plastic restrictions. The bill submitted by lawmakers yesterday would require all plastic containers be recyclable in California. The third American missing in Ukraine has been identified as a Marine veteran. The Washington Post says the 49-year-old volunteered to join Ukraine's fight against the Russian invasion and arrived in Kyiv on March 21st. And President Biden is now facing his highest disapproval rating since he took office. A Yahoo News YouGov poll shows 56% of Americans disapprove of the job the president is doing. We'll look at the East LA interchange in just a moment.
I have been broadcasting Handle on the Law now for over 30 years, and I have never found a lemon law lawyer that I was actually comfortable recommending until now. So let me introduce you to the Knight Law Group. If you've bought or leased a car or a truck, and it's just a clunker, and you've gone back for repairs, and they're horrible at doing that, and they're just not going to help you, well, you may have a lemon on your hands, and you may very well have, if you do, you are going to be protected by the California lemon law. Every year, the manufacturers produce and sell cars and trucks that have real problems. They sell them by the millions. Occasionally, you're going to get a bad one. You don't want a bad one, but if you do, here's something you can do about it. Call the Knight Law Group. They'll help you get rid of the lemon, get your money back, and you will not pay one dime out of pocket. It's a free consultation. Call the Knight Law Group at 844-43-LEMON. 844-43-LEMON. Visit knightlaw.com. That's Knight with a K. knightlaw.com.
Let's get a look at your drive on the East LA interchange.
Oh, this is a busy place, that's for sure. Not too bad this morning. I really watched stuff going westward to the west end, kind of go over towards the 110 Harbor Freeway. After that, it's a kind of morning drive straight from the Brea. Pretty good report for Sunday morning east time, looking real good. And another reminder now, Topanga Canyon still shut down from a crash last night that knocked on power poles. That's from Fernwood to PCH. Canaan, Malibu, Las Virgenes, they're both open in between Pacific Coast Highway and the 101. Kfi in the sky helps get you there faster.
Here's to the great American settlers, the millions of you who settled for unsatisfying jobs because they pay the bills. Of course, there is something else you could do if you got something to say. Start a podcast with Spreaker from iHeart and unleash your creative freedom. Maybe even earn enough money to one day tell your old boss, hey, I'm no settler. I'm an explorer. Spreaker.com. SPREAKER. Hustle on over today.
In the next 30 seconds, 40 couples will be in baby mode. And as they're thinking about tiny shoes, shape-shifting strollers, and where to find the best gifts for their kids, they'll realize
Gotta sell the house and fix it and save it and sell it.
Or they can skip the hassles and sell directly to Open Door and close in a matter of days. Get back to the things that matter, like tiny baby shoes. Get your competitive offer at opendoor.com/offer. Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage Inc. License 020611330 in California. And Open Door Brokerage LLC is under market.
As a marketer, you want to reach everyone. Adults, teens, millennials. But it's not like these groups all hang out in the same place, right? Actually wrong. There
they're all right here, listening to radio commercials just like this one. Radio ads connect with 93% of Americans every week. That's more than Google, more than Facebook, more than TV. In fact, radio reaches 20% more millennials than TV. Want more of the people you want to talk to all in one place? Visit iHeartAdvertising.com and get AM/FM working for you. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. With gas prices at all-time highs, now's the time to donate.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
With your donation, you'll receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher. So donate today. Almost 3 million people use the bar to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most